This is a Fender Pawn Shop Mustang Special, and really pretty guitar. You can see I'm just in the process of, I just polished the frets and then cleaned the fretboard, and just gonna oil the fretboard and then it'll be ready for setup. Check the action real quick. I'm gonna see the action is very nice. 060 at the 12th fret. The low E is a little higher than that, but mostly 060. Kind of feels kind of nice just as it is, but let's sight down the neck and see what the relief is like. In the neck, got some, not ridiculous amount. I like to flip the guitar around and take a look from both sides sometimes. You never know which is going to give you the whole picture. So I think it's worth measuring the relief on this guy just to see where we're at. So put the capo at the first fret, 0.010 at the 8th. And it's clearing that. So it's got a fair amount of relief in it. I generally like to have a little bit less relief than that, so I'm just going to tighten the truss rod a tiny bit. If you ever get a hold of one of these truss rod wrenches, it's like the real Fender factory truss rod wrench. It's the 3/16. This one fits a lot of the guitars that I see. A lot of Mexican made guitars. Doesn't fit every Fender, but these guys are kind of handy, kind of nice because they're really long and they stick out far enough to easily turn them. So we're going to tighten. I will loosen just a smidge first, and then, oh yeah, this truss rod is pretty loose, so it doesn't hurt to just tighten it up a bit. And we're just measuring the distance from the top of the fret to the bottom of the low E string. Okay, so 0.008 won't fit. So we're at 0.007, which is a place that I'm pretty comfortable with on setups. Now our action is going to be a bit lower. It's around 0.050 now. Just check on the low frets. It's not super buzzy. I may raise the action just a tiny bit and even out the action. The one thing I noticed on this, one thing I don't like to see, is sometimes when those saddles are sitting kind of sideways like that, that B saddle is like at a big angle for no apparent reason, when all the other saddles are nice and flat or at just slight angles. Okay, so I'll just tweak the action on this. This may not need a whole lot more. It's in a pretty good place already. Some people think you don't really get a completely accurate idea if you're not holding the guitar like you normally play it, which may have some merit. I just tend to get my initial settings this way because it's pretty quick, and then I'll check it sitting with the guitar after this. Make sure it's exactly where I want it. While I'm going through changing the height slightly on some of these saddles, I'm also making sure that they're fairly level or at slight angles so that they follow the radius of the neck. That's actually my ideal setup with the saddles, so that they have a nice curve all the way across to follow the neck radius. The action's nice on this now, and checking the low frets. Everything's ringing clear. Middle of the neck. Checking up higher. Everything still sounds good. This thing just about set itself up. Really didn't need much. Little turn of the truss rod, little tweak to the action, and sounding good. I like to just bend around the neck and make sure everything's sustaining real well. Sometimes if you've got the neck adjusted with maybe a little too much or too little relief in certain spots on the neck, it may not ring real well when you're doing those bends. So you're just kind of checking that there's no issues, and then we'll just play on every fret to make sure nothing's buzzing funny or maybe a high fret. Just checking the intonation on the high E. Just slightly sharp at the 12th fret. Yeah, this little Mustang is a great guitar. Talk about an easy setup. And you can get a ton of sounds. So got the intonation all done. I noticed one thing that I thought was worth showing, and that was just that every now and then you get a tuner that's a little sticky, a little hard to turn compared to the others maybe. And for me on this guitar, the A string tuner was just a little bit tough to turn. There's this stuff called Triflow. Get it in there. It's pretty amazing stuff. It's not all that cheap, but it lasts a long time. Triflow is a great one that I found to squirt a little bit in a tuner, and it just really makes it smooth and turn smooth. I got this other thing I found called Liquid Bearings. It's not bad too, but Triflow's always kind of a go-to, and you can make a little bit of a mess trying to get some of the stuff in there sometimes, but and you just use your string winder or your hand or whatever and just turn the string back and forth, and now I notice it's much easier to turn. And you may want to dab up around there, get rid of any excess oil. They're actually called, according to Fender literature, enforcer humbuckers, and the way the electronics are set up is three-way switch like normal to select pickups, and then these three-way switches select the coils. So if I'm in the treble pickup position, bridge pickup, I can have this mini switch to the back coil. In the middle will be both coils, and you can tell it's more powerful, or the front coil, the pickup. And there is a lot of different tones there. Same thing with the neck pickup. So we got the and then when you're in the middle position, you got all kinds of possibilities. The only other thing on this was I noticed the jack was a little noisy, dirty. So I'm just going to go over how I clean something like that up so it's not making noise anymore. Okay, got the control cover off here, and of course since it's open, I just went ahead and sprayed out the pots with contact cleaner, even though they didn't sound like they needed it. And I always do a plug for this stuff that I use because I really like it. It's called CRC QD contact cleaner. I have managed to get this from Home Depot, usually for around $8, I think it is, and just really works, and it's way cheaper than Deoxit. Never had a problem with it. And you get a huge can. It's 11 ounces for that price, so not a bad deal. Okay, so pots are cleaned out. The jack, what I like to do is just take a little piece of sandpaper and roll it up nice and small enough to fit into that jack. Put it in there like that, and what I'm doing, you always get Fenders and they have this Fender style jack and they're noisy, cutting in and out, and for years I never really knew what to do about it. I just messed with the contact post inside, and again and again and again until I finally got it to quiet down. But I don't know, for some reason I've found cleaning out the interior of that cylinder, half the time that seems to just fix it, to make a cleaner contact in there for the barrel part of the jack, I guess. And then while it sticks through here, it's also rubbing on that contact point right there, you can see. And I will take it out and just use the sandpaper a little bit more on this, because over years stuff does build up on these contact points. So sometimes it's that, and then sometimes it's also just that after years of putting the jack in, taking it out, putting it in, this thing starts to get bent back a little bit. At least that's my theory. So I will just slightly bend it forward a little bit, and then maybe bend this part right here, bend it up just a tiny. If you go too far, then the jack's not going to fit in, and you'll see that real quick, and then you got to bend it back. But yeah, this jack seems a little quieter now. So roll up a piece of sandpaper, stick it in that jack, and clean it off inside, and then clean your contact here and maybe bend it a little bit, and that usually works for me.